Hi, this is Nicola Matrano. Welcome to my classroom. I am the ENL teacher at PS 69. I work with the 4th and 5th grade students right now. This is the space in which I bring my entering and emergent students. There is one 4th grader and two 5th graders. We come in here, and oftentimes I bring in also my integrated students. So sometimes I stay in the classroom with those kids, and sometimes if the teacher thinks it's more conducive to the students' learning, we come up here. Just a quick overview of what's going on. This is my bulletin board where I keep all my important papers and the dates and the calendar of the school year. Students are able to come over if they need to, but for the most part, this is for me. Fire drill and lockdown informational posters, so the children know exactly what to expect in any of those situations. This is our reference board for our vowel sounds, long and short. Our emotions, so that children can expand upon just happy and sad. Proofreading. The children often come over here and take a look at what the marks that I put on their paper meant, and some of them have even gotten into the habit of using these marks themselves when they're marking their own work or when they're marking peers' work, so I love that. Some capitalization rules, we seem to be struggling with that, but the best I can do is always refer them back over here and tell them to identify what's wrong on their paper and how they could fix it, make it correct. Following our grammatical rules, the writing process. The children do move their sticky note from where they are, so they know how much further they have to go in the process. Right now, we are just finishing up a piece, so most children have already shared, and we have about 3 more kids that have to share aloud or act out. This is over here when you first walk in, the colors and the shapes. Children refer to it as needed, but for the most part, they know their colors and they know their shapes. A lot of the entering kids come over here just for the proper spelling, which is understandable. This is my smartboard, so that helps. It's easy to pull up a picture if the kids are really having trouble with vocabulary words. So I pull up the picture and they're like, oh, okay. And it just helps make input more comprehensible for them. This is our accountable talk discussion stems. Lots of kids are well versed in I agree with you because, or I disagree with you. So we kind of just want to get them to be a little bit more of a text talker and just refer back to the text. Here's a rubric, so they know what their participation sounds like. These are the folders, the kids' working folders. This is my standalone group. Some of the children I had last year. This is my second year doing this position. So I leave all their work in there. That way it's a good way to measure their progress and areas needing improvement still. 4th grade, 5th grade. So they know on which side to put their work. Over at this table are all the supplies that we may need throughout our time together. Task assessment cards kind of speak for themselves. If they're understanding the task, either independently or with a partner, it's green. Yellow, I kind of leave them alone for a bit and try to let them figure it out. And red, I really just offer them scaffolding and support as needed. Then over here, we have some sentence starters. I usually always put a sentence starter on the board anyway when they're filling out their exit tickets, but just in case they're in the middle of their work and they want to do something. So we have monitoring, evaluating, making connections, prior knowledge, and summarizing. So they're free to use these anytime they want. I do have bilingual dictionaries here, Spanish and Chinese. Those seem to be our big, and Arabic is a big population, but many of our Arabic speakers are pretty proficient in English. But the Chinese speaking students and the Spanish speaking students refer back to these quite often. Over here is just some sample work. This is I put this up so that they always know that they should be answering as much as they could to either a peer or a response, a prompt. Okay, our word wall. This was a 4th grade activity that I did. They were reading an article on grizzly bears, so we did a KWL chart in our own way, what we know, what we want to know, and of course at the end we summarized what we had learned. Then we did a group summary. They told me what to say and I typed it and printed it out. This was another book that the 5th grade students were working on, Solving Conflicts from Night of the Spadefoot Toad, Making and Confirming Predictions. Over here, this was a great activity. We worked on this for about a week or two. We read an article about Rachel Carson, because the 5th grade students were going to be studying her in their curriculum. So after we finished and analyzed and annotated the article, I gave the children a choice to do like 3 or 4 skills. So we had stating and supporting an opinion, identify important details, making inferences, making connections, telling it in my own words, using newly learned vocabulary. And then what they did was they evaluated one another. They gave each other feedback on what they did well on and what they needed to continue to work towards. This was another 5th grade group. This was an article that they read on vernal pools. So what we did with that article was we identified important words or words that we were unfamiliar with. We looked up definitions together or used context clues to form our own definition. Then we found pictures and then we just did a match. We matched the pictures with our vocabulary. We did the same with Rachel Carson. Instead, we didn't cut it up this time. We kind of just came up with our own definition, and then we found a corresponding picture. The children chose from the internet which picture they wanted to use. These are all my books: cultural narrative, nonfiction world culture. These are foreign language books. Children are able to take these if they wish. These are thesauruses, and we basically get a lot of use out of these because we're trying not to use the same word over and over and over and over again, because as I model for them, said, even they realize how boring it is, and so when I find it in their work, I refer them to a thesaurus. Those are our dictionaries. These are games that I would use with enter and emerging kids. They especially like the sight word bingo. Over here are just more reference books for the children to use. These are monolingual dictionaries where there's a scenario in the picture and then the children can find a corresponding vocabulary that would go with that. These are grammar books that the children can use to check their, parts of speech and anything else that could improve their writing or their speaking. This is my globe. We refer to this quite often, especially when we're talking about, where we're from or where our ancestors are from. This is my dollar map from the Dollar Tree, best investment I've made all year because we're constantly referring to it. We talk about cardinal directions on that. We talk about map keys and anything we're reading, even if it's a narrative. If they've provided us with a location, we look it up. With one group, we're reading 26 Fairmont Avenue, and they're from Connecticut, so the children love to look at the map and see exactly where their beloved characters are from. This is a book that I'm hoping to do with all my groups. It's called Who Am I? And it's all about a child learning about his cultural heritage. So with that, I would love to do like a culminating project by the end of the year where everyone's able to just share a whole bunch of information about their culture. That way we could learn and how, our cultures are the same or different or just learn from each other. This is a published piece. We started this actually in December with 5th grade students, and it took a really long time, but we're proud of the work, and so we just hung it up. even though holidays are over, it shows the entire writing process. But this is my room. I hope you enjoyed the visit, and I look forward to working with everybody this semester. Thank you.